Color Mixing Challenge. Today we're going to use a variety of materials, but we're only going to be using 3 different colors: yellow, blue, and white. I'm going to start with my visual journal page, and I'm going to write in the middle, how many shades of green can I make? Question mark. And then I'm going to grab some paints. I'm just using tempera paints right now in yellow, blue, and white. And I'm just going to do some experimenting. I'm going to try to mix, first of all, the yellow and the blue together and see what shade of green it makes. And then I'm going to experiment by putting maybe a lot of blue and just a tiny, tiny little dab of yellow, and the opposite as well, a ton of yellow and a tiny, tiny little bit of blue, and see what different shades of green I come up with. And then I can also try mixing white in there as well. And every time that I mix a new shade, I'm going to paint a little swatch of that shade on my visual journal page. Something that I want you to watch out for, or to see if you can notice, is which colors seem to be stronger colors. So you don't need to mix a lot of them in for you to be able to see them really well. And which colors are the opposite, where you need to mix a lot of that color in order for it to make an impact on the shade that you're mixing. And also think about what happens when you add white to a color that you've mixed. Also, I'm not showing it on the camera, but make sure that you're washing your brush off if you want to switch from a dark shade of green to a light shade of green, or from a light shade of green to a dark shade of green. And when you do this, you'll want to dry your brush off a little bit with a paper towel before you continue mixing. So how would this kind of color mixing work with watercolor paints? So I'll be adding some water to wake up my yellow watercolor paint. It already has a little bit of green in it, or a little bit of blue in it, so I think I might just use that as one very light shade of green. And I'm just going to put some paint onto a piece of wax paper, or a piece of plastic, or a watercolor palette would work as well. And then I'm going to kind of wash my brush off in between adding the blue. And there we go. I can mix my colors that way. What if I don't have access to watercolor paints or tempera paints? That's okay. You can still do color mixing with markers or pencil crayons or crayons. So a way that you can do it with markers is by layering. So I could take a blue marker and layer some yellow marker on top, and it slightly changes the color. You can do this with crayons and pencil crayons, and you can switch up the order that you layer the colors. And another really cool technique you can do with marker is called optical mixing. So I'm taking my yellow marker, I'm doing a whole bunch of little yellow dots, and then I'm going to switch up to my blue marker, and I'm going to add a whole bunch of blue dots on top. And we can zoom in and see when we add the blue dots in between the yellow dots, it kind of mixes the colors together. You may have to squint at the colors to see them mixing, or experiment with adding more yellow or more blue dots. I hope that you enjoy experimenting with mixing colors, and I can't wait to see all the shades of green that you make. Thanks for watching.